The other point I want to make is that if we want to start living and being who we are, we of course need to know who we are first. You don't have to wait until you reach financial independence to start enjoying your life. You can do that much earlier and start living a life that you love and that's true to you. Welcome to Freedom Before FIRE. Using FIRE and life design techniques, we help you create freedom on your way to FIRE instead of waiting until you're retired to do the things that light you up. I'm your host Greg, a FIRE movement and life design enthusiast. If you're itching to get freedom now, then let's do this. Hello to you and welcome back to the show. Now, in the last episode, I talked about the one magic ingredient we need to live an awesome life. And that magic ingredient, my friend, is knowing yourself. And I see it as foundational to our life design journey. If you're trying to enjoy your life now and can't wait until reaching FI, the best way to do that, in my view, is to live your life aligned to you and your values. Things like knowing what really matters to you in your life, what things light you up, what do you love to do in your spare time? What brings you joy and happiness? What makes you fulfilled? What environment do you thrive in? Things like that. You see, if we knew the answers to these important questions, we could then start to live in alignment with our ideal lives. The other point I want to make is that if we want to start living and being who we are, we of course need to know who we are first. Okay, so I've got 5 ways you can use to get to know yourself better. Oh, and stick around to the end as I do have an extra bonus one for you. Okay, so the first one is through experience. So I've split this into 2 types of experience. The first type is previous experiences, and then the second type is experience through experimenting. So if you looked at this as some sort of science experiment, the first type is researching previous data, and then the second type is when we want to gather more data points through testing. So examples of getting to know yourself through previous experiences is through self-reflection, like journaling or meditating. And as you might know, I'm a fan of both. So you can look back and reflect on things like, what did I enjoy doing as a kid? What were some peak life experiences? What jobs did I really enjoy? When was I being my true self? When was I most happy? And also things like what you didn't like doing. You can also just look at the recent past, like looking back at your week and reflecting on things like what made the week successful, why did I do this or that, why did I react this way or that way, why was I feeling annoyed about so-and-so. These reflections help you think about why you made certain decisions or why you done certain actions. Okay, so that's reflecting on previous experiences. If you want to gather more data on getting to know ourselves more, my favourite way to do that is through testing and experimenting. So if you want to know if you'd like a certain activity or a certain environment, try testing the activity first or try being in that environment to see if you'd like it or not. As they say, experience is the best teacher. For example, you might know that you love cooking, but you haven't tried baking before. You can experiment baking some cupcakes or cookies on the weekend. Me and my missus are kind of fond of racket games, and we were curious about pickleball. So we recently joined a local pickleball club to try it out first to see if we'd like it, and we did. But of course, we're still very beginner level, but the main thing is that we tried it, and we wouldn't have known if we'd like it if we didn't try it. Okay, so the second way to get to know yourself better is by listening to your gut. So they do say our stomachs is like a second brain. One of my favourite ways to understand ourselves is to listen to our gut when we are in certain situations or faced with decisions. Listening to our gut is like our true inner selves trying to communicate with us. And I'm sure we've all felt that sensation when you're stuck in a decision. You know, your gut, or sometimes we say our heart, one of our internal organs anyway, says one thing and your brain says another. Usually our gut is telling us the right answer. We can either listen to it or not. But we all know deep down that our gut is always right and is usually what we really want. Okay, so the third method is listening to others. Now, this doesn't mean listening to everyone. This is more listening to a certain select few who you feel you're close to or respect their opinion. You see, because sometimes we're so narrowly focused on things, we don't step back to reflect on ourselves. But others around you who you might interact with frequently can clearly see or notice things about you. For instance, a natural skill of yours could be making others feel at ease with your personality, or being nurturing, or being really good at teaching complex ideas. But you might not even know it yourself because it just comes naturally to you. It's just easy for you. So sometimes it's good to get feedback from others, like family, friends, colleagues, and things like that, to give you that clarity on what your natural skills are or your natural personality. I've actually asked colleagues before what they think my natural skills were, and you can try this too. Okay, so number 4 is taking a personality test. Now, I'm not going to go into too much detail on this one, as I'm pretty sure you're familiar with what these are, but essentially they help you understand what your character traits are by asking you tons of questions, and you can just do these online. Some tests you might have heard of are the Myers-Briggs test. It's for understanding your psychological profile. Then there's things like the StrengthsFinder test, which is good to understand what things you're good at. There's also the Enneagram test. This is a personality test which describes people in terms of their core motivations, desires, and fears. Now, the 5th and final one is solo traveling. In my view, if you want to get to know yourself, you need to spend some time with yourself. I know it sounds a bit cliche and a bit eat, pray, love, but trust me, from experience, it's really life-changing. The whole finding yourself thing is real, my friend. Now, you don't have to go far, but of course, a solo backpacking trip in South America or Southeast Asia would be amazing. But if you can't do that, you could just travel outside of your hometown. The main thing is for you to be in a totally new environment with new people. You want to see how you deal with being in a new environment, like what things you like doing, who you like hanging out with. You see, when you're traveling alone, you can choose to do anything you want, within reason, of course. You don't have to debate or vote on what to do with other people. You decide the itinerary. You decide how to get to places. And it's in this environment that you get to know yourself more. It actually accelerates your learning process. The more foreign the environment and the more new things you can try out, the better. Alright, so those are the 5 ways you can try out to get to know yourself more. Okay, let's do a quick recap. Okay, so the first one was through experience, and then we split that up into 2 parts. The first part being reflecting on past experiences, and then the second part being testing and experimenting on new things. Okay, number 2 was listening to your gut. The third one was listening to others. The 4th one was personality tests. And then the 5th one was solo traveling. Okay, so I did mention in the beginning that I do have a bonus one. Now, this is more for people that need a bit of guidance from others. And that is getting coaching or participating in workshops. Usually, through coaching and workshops, you're taken through a framework specifically designed to help you on whatever area it is you want to focus on. Now, I've actually put together an online one-on-one workshop for people who want to design their next steps. Whether you're struggling to figure out what your next career move is, or what side hustle you want to venture into, this online one-on-one workshop will help you. A chunk of the workshop actually focuses a lot on understanding yourself more. So if that sounds of interest, you can visit our website or you can email me directly, and those details are in the show notes. Thank you for spending your time with us today. If you need more help, you can check out our free guides and services on our website, freedombeforephi.com. If you have a burning question or just want to chat, don't hesitate to drop me an email at greg@freedombeforephi.com. If you found the show useful and want to be notified of future episodes, you can click follow on Spotify, Apple, or the app you're currently using right now. If you think the episode will help a friend or a colleague, feel free to share it with them. And lastly, if you learned just one good thing that will help you in your journey and you want to help us out, please do leave a 5-star rating on your podcast player app. That would help us out loads. Alright, so that's what I have for you today. I hope that's helped you understand yourself better. Have a great week and I'll catch you on the next one. And as always, practice gratitude, live life by your design, and do things that make you smile. You got this.